How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to HGO, the show where we talk about everything that's hot in the world of gaming. I'm one of your hosts, Ethan, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host with the co-most. He's on location. It's Hunter. Hey, Hunter, how you doing? He's on location.
I'm doing this as well. Sorry.
He's on location, making noise. I love it. It's all good. How are you doing anyway, bud?
Oh, I'm doing all right. You know, just hanging out for the weekend.
Yeah, and we're also joined. He's finally returned from wherever he's been. It's the Weeb Wonder himself. It's Kyle. Kyle, where have you been?
Toodaloo. I mean, hello.
Oh,
How's
hey.
it going, everybody?
Yeah,
I'm back. First week of February, it was the Super Bowl, so I took that week off. And last week, I just wasn't around for some reason. I don't remember why.
It was some family reason. It was a family reason, I believe.
When you guys were like, oh, right, my sister came over. That's right.
Yeah.
I remember now.
Yeah.
And also, I won't be around next week because I'm not getting Persona 5 Strikers.
Oh, that's next week. Damn, I really need to hurry up and finish Watch Dogs Legion.
Little teaser.
Yeah, well, that's joke's on you. We're just going to do a regular episode next week and pretend it doesn't exist. No.
Cool.
But yeah, if you didn't know, this is HGO. Every week we come together to talk about everything that's on in the world of gaming. You can find us on podcast services everywhere, including Spotify, Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, you name it, we're on it. So head on over to linktree/hotgamersonly. That's linktr.ee/hotgamersonly. You can find out where we are, so you can listen on your favourite service. Or if you want to look at our stupid faces and look when Hunter drops things, you can go to bit.ly/HGOYT.
I didn't drop things. A cat knocked something over.
Yeah, but the cat's doing it for you, you know? You thought, finally, I haven't dropped something this week, and then the cat's like, hold my beer.
You're right. I did get through the episode last week without spilling my drink.
Hey, there you go.
Work,
it's all good, dude. But no, bit.ly/HGOYT. Head on over there. Give us a subscription so we can hit 100 subscribers so we can actually have a YouTube URL. That would be greatly appreciated. 100 subs. Kyle will play Mario 64. I have basically gatekeeped one of our new shows, Definitive, off to 100 subs as well. So we're not making a single episode of that until you guys get us to 100 subs. So we'd really appreciate it. What is Definitive? You'll find out at 100.
Dude. Give him a quick and dirty explanation. Give him the elevator pitch.
Well, the elevator pitch of Definitive is kind of a comedy list show where we come together to determine the definitive answer to some of gaming's most toughest questions. So, for example, it might be, who is the best anime sword fighter for all those pissed off Nintendo fans right now? 4 people will come with their answers. They'll debate it out head to head, and the person that's the host of that episode will crown the king of, or queen of anime sword fighters, something like that. So yeah, it's going to be a really fun show. I'm looking forward to it because everyone's terrible at debating, and I think it'll be hilarious. So get us to 100 subs, and we'll do at least a pilot run of Definitive and see how it goes. We'd greatly appreciate it. This week on HGO, we've got the Nintendo Direct. We've got Bowser's Fury, because we didn't talk about it last week. We also have Hunter finally getting that PS5. He finally made it. Congrats to that.
Did.
I mean, he's not got it right now, but
no, that thing's way too big to bring anywhere.
How dare you? It's a portable system, dude. But no, we got all that coming up on HGO this week. And thank you all for your continued support. We really do appreciate it. Let us know how your week's been going down in the comments or on Twitter at HotGamersOnly. There you go. There's another plug for you. I'm done with plugging now. Let's get into the actual podcast. So this week, guys, I don't know if you noticed, a Nintendo Direct happened. Fun. This is actually a celebration for us. It's the first Nintendo Direct since we started this show. We've been doing it for nearly a year.
Right, yeah.
I'm not counting the
all
minis,
the minis we got last
and
year.
the partner showcases, no, because they're like 5 minutes and who cared. But no, this is the first full-fat Direct, and man, you can tell that the internet had a really fun time with this one.
Bunch of grumps.
If you want to, you can actually see our reaction. We do have it up on the YouTube channel, so head on over to YouTube, bit.ly/HGOYT, type in Hot Gamers Only, whatever you want. And we have got a reaction up there, so if you want to see me freak out at the fact that Pyro finally got added to Smash, or you want to see us all question why Splatoon 3 exists in a great way, go on over to the YouTube channel and head on over, because it's a good one. I liked it quite a bit. And also, it's one of the most positive reactions on the internet for that kind of thing.
True.
So it's like us and Easy Allies were the two groups that actually really enjoyed that direct. Everyone else seemed to be a bit more melancholy about it. So we'll see. But do you want to go in order, or do you want to just talk about highlights, lowlights? Do you want to go in order?
Go on in order. Skip the stuff that doesn't matter.
So, so the first thing that happened in the Nintendo Direct was Pyra/Mythra. I feel like it's interesting that they have called the character Pyra/Mythra and not just Aegis. It's an interesting... I was like, interesting.
It is interesting since they went and numbered them separately, too.
Yeah, it's an interesting little... it's basically Zelda from Melee. But we'll get into it. So, as the three representatives here, the three people that really liked this reveal, what are you guys feeling? You feeling good? I'll throw it to you, Kat, first, because you were the... I like Xenoblade 2 a lot. I was looking forward to this, but I feel like you were the person that wanted this the most out of all of us. So how does it feel to finally be relieved of the burden of 2 years of wanting this character in the game?
Dude, it feels really freaking good.
Yeah, man.
And, like, us Xenoblade fans have kind of been getting shafted by Smash Bros. Since 2018. Back when we got Rex Mii costume. That just felt like a kick when we were already down because Piranha Plant was revealed. And so it just felt nice to finally get a W. I loved being able to just go on Twitter because I follow a lot of like Xenoblade artists and Xenoblade content creators. It was so nice to just go on there and just look at all the positive vibes and just see people be genuinely happy that this freaking great character, two great characters, finally got representation.
Chugga Kongwari swore on Twitter. That's how happy he was about it. I was like, damn, Chugga, calm down. Man. 2 for 2 he is now. Like, honestly,
2 for 2.
That's crazy.
Back when he did Xenoblade 1, Shulk got announced for Smash 4.
Yeah, nice. But no.
And that was during when he was on his little break in the season.
I'm also extremely happy now to say we finally got a prediction, right? Yes, on the HGO podcast with Yoshilla that we did, like 9 months ago. We finally did it. We got a prediction right, and we basically had it. We said it would be Pyra, Mythra, not Rex, and you'd swap between them at the push of a button. We basically got it, guys. We're gods. I mean, that's 1 out of like 36 predictions, or however many we made.
I think
to the 4th try.
Yeah.
20th.
Yeah, but when we hit, guys. That's how it is. But no, I'm just happy, you know. It feels like Fighters Pass 2, I joke about it. I've said on Twitter multiple times that this is my Fighters Pass ever since Byleth was like, I was like, Smash is my game now. Only I care. Like, and it's been true. Every single character since then has been characters that I've just been like, hell yeah, Min, let's go. Steve, yes. I love minecarts. It's great. And now finally it feels like the representation that was lacking from 2017 finally happened. It's like we got an arms rep, which should have happened. We finally got that Xenoblade rep when we were promised. We were like, sorry, too late, and we were like, we better make it up in the Fighters Pass then. And they did, thankfully.
Fighters Pass 2 just looks really good, honestly, because you've got Min first party rep, Min, Pyra, Mythra as first party reps, Steve representing the biggest game in the world, and then Sephiroth for probably one of the most recognizable antagonists.
Yeah, it's a really besides ones that were already in the game.
Yeah,
like I don't know about you guys. I'm thinking Fighters Pass 2 is looking like the better Fighters Pass out of the two of them so far. To me anyway, I feel like the value is there in representation. I also just like the fact that the 2 first party reps that we have got have been female characters in Fighters Pass 2. I thought that was pretty cool as well.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I like it. I don't know if it's interesting. I don't know if there is still another first party character in those final 2 slots. It'll be interesting now because I always thought this next one would have been third party, and then the second to last one would have been first party, and we'll see where it goes. So now I'm just like, who knows?
I don't know. There's probably another Fire Emblem character hidden away there.
Be Sakurai's final goodbye to Smash Ultimate's ending on the Fire Emblem character again. But no, Hunter, I guess we'll ask you the same question. How do you feel?
Oh, this was a cool reveal. Pyra and Mithra are cool. I wasn't going to lose sleep over them if they didn't show up ever, but I'm happy that it happened. Like, you two clearly like Xenoblade a little bit more than I do. So it's nice that
I don't know. I feel like you liked 1 more than me. I feel like we're like Kyle loves both of the games. I like 2 a lot, and you like 1 a lot. So I feel like we like.
I don't know. Outside of conversations with you guys, I don't really think about them that often.
I mean, the only thought I ever have about Xenoblade 2 is I need to play Xenoblade 2 again. And also then I remember that cutscene from Chapter 7, which will always have me crying with laughter. Which I won't spoil for anyone because, man, you have to experience that. Especially now that so many people are going to go and play Xenoblade 2 because of this.
You really should if you haven't played the game yet. And like, you don't need to worry about having played the first game first because both games are super accessible. I mean, Ethan can attest to that.
Yeah. Especially with the easy difficulty they added in. If you're just going for story like me, you can very easily just turn the easy mode on and not have to really worry about it. And then if you're anything like me, easy mode actually helps you learn the combat system a lot more because you can just be like, oh, let me see how I can speed this up, and there's no failure state really. You can just try things and experiment without worrying about failure. To the point where near the end of the game, I turned the difficulty back up to normal because I was like, oh, I understand this now. So,
even outside of the easy mode, there's a fully customizable difficulty setting where you can turn enemy aggression, enemy health all the way down to like nothing.
Oh, did they add that?
Yeah, that was in the final update, I'm pretty sure.
So that's you've got even more customization than I had. So that's,
man, if that would have been there when I played, when I got towards the end of the game, I was hilariously underleveled, as I tend to be for RPGs these days. I was like, oh man, I don't want to fight these things. I wish I would have been able to just turn their health down. That would have been nice.
Yeah. The game added a lot of quality of life after the fact, but it's nice for replays.
Yeah. It's just, I can tell a lot of people did not play Xenoblade 2 by how angry they were at the announcement. And I'm like, if you actually had played Xenoblade 2, you'd probably want them, you kind of want a representative from it in Smash. So I like it. Also, the people that are complaining, the last character that we got, you were all ecstatic for, that is also an anime sword fighter.
That's the king of anime sword
fighters. And spoiler alert, what was the character that people wanted instead of Pyra Mythra? Sora. He's still a sword. He's still an anime sword fighter. So sit the fuck down. Let's just accept that swords are an easy weapon to get into Smash, okay?
Swords are fucking cool, dude. I don't know why you guys are getting upset.
People only use the sword complaint when it's a character that they don't want.
Yeah, basically.
Like if Dante got put in.
Yeah, if it was Sora or Dante, people would have popped off.
Yeah.
But no.
Would have been funny to see how people responded to 2B if she got in.
I don't know. Yeah, it's the people
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be cool.
Yeah. I mean,
she's cool in Soul Calibur.
Yeah, she's cool. I like.
It's one of those.
It's another gem from 2017. Smash seems to be collecting those.
Dude, what if she's next?
Hey, you never know.
Just keep giving Square more reps.
Looking forward to seeing it in March. Interesting that the Sakurai Presents doesn't have a date yet. I think that's 100% because next week we've got a Pokemon Direct, or this week technically. I think we have a Pokemon Direct coming this week, or else they would have scheduled it for this week. So yeah. That'll be interesting. Moving on from Smash, because we talked quite a bit about it. So there you go. The only positive Smash comments on the internet, apparently. You also had there were some small games. I don't remember all of them off by heart. But you had Fall Guys finally coming to Switch, which, great. It's also come to Xbox as well. That game should have been on Switch on day one. I understand the marketing deal.
Way too long to come to Switch.
I understand they had a marketing deal with Sony, but they should have really have thought about having it so it came out when the marketing deal was over. Because when it was announced, I'm like, oh, it's probably coming in March, and then they were like, summer. I'm like, that's a bit long, guys. I don't know. But it's a perfect fit. I really hope it. I hope that if they do like a big content drop around it, maybe it'll give it some hype again. We'll see. That game's really cool. There was some other game.
It'd be cool if they were like Nintendo exclusive
skins.
costumes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they never did any PlayStation exclusive ones, you know? I feel like having like a Sackboy like Fall Guy, or like just having something like they have Kratos in Fortnite, why can't we have Kratos in Fall Guys? Just have a little like
Just
chubby
a little-
bean Kratos with his fucking
Yeah,
arm
just a
looking
white
on
one
and
with a
tattoos.
stripe on his
yeah.
eye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be great. I'd love to see that. Stuff like that, or like an Aloy one, like stuff like that would be pretty cool.
That'd be cool.
So I hope they do stuff like that. You also had like that 25-minute until the universe explodes or whatever game, which reminded me a lot of
That's
Outer Wilds.
Outer
Yeah.
Wilds. Yeah.
Was it Outer Wilds? Was it actually
Yeah.
Outer Wilds? Okay, cool. Because I was like, this reminds me a lot of Outer Wilds, and then I was too busy like checking Twitter to not check the title, and I was like, oh. So if it was Outer Wilds, that's cool.
Yeah, it was.
Some other little mini games like if you like visual novels, they had those Famicom detective games, which we were taking the piss out of. And then I went to check Twitter, and Twitter was like, "Oh my god, they're actually remaking." I'm like, okay, some people
apparently
actually care.
these were already games that were pretty good, so I take back my snarky remarks about them.
I mean, whenever I see visual novel now, I just have like Norm flashbacks to Danganronpa, and I'm just like, nope. I'm like, at that point, I'm like, I'm not touching a visual novel for a long time. So there's some little stuff like that. Have I forgotten anything that was announced before Mario Golf?
There was Monster Hunter Rise.
Oh, but that's coming out. Game of the year 2021. Get me that big fat 90. You know, that's what we're talking about. Yeah.
No.
88. Which one of us has Horizon on their draft?
He's got a point.
Which one of you has God of War Ragnarok? Game of the year, definitely.
Yeah, Kyle has a game that's actually coming out this year.
Oh well.
2022. Nah, it's probably going to be
It'll
solid.
compete with Breath of the Wild too.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know, man. I honestly think if Breath of the Wild comes out again and it's just more of the same, and God of War comes out and it's more of the same, I think God of War's more of the same might beat out Zelda. And that's sorry, but I think if Corey comes out with another banging story, I think that Zelda will not get Game of the Year the following year.
Are you factoring in the Nintendo points?
Yes, I am factoring in.
Sony has points now too, though. Is the thing.
Yeah, God of War basically has its own point scale of this is now the critical darling of the Sony games. Like Naughty Dog's been booted, Santa Monica's where it is now. All hail Cory Barlog and all that shit, you know.
Yeah.
But no. Anyway, back to Nintendo. So yeah, you had Monster Hunter and all that. Then you had Mario Golf, which Sam and Jack were really excited for.
I'm jazzed about it too.
Right,
it looks kind of fun.
For someone like me who's never played Mario Golf, why should I give a shit? That's my honest question, because to me, I just look like, oh, this just looks like it's like with tennis, where I was like, oh, cool, but then Kyle dragged me into it.
You are never gonna let that go, are you?
Nope,
ever.
Never. Never getting that 45 pounds back.
We're gonna be like 80 one day, and he'll be like, remember when you made me buy this stupid tennis game?
We haven't spoken in 40 years, and just on my deathbed, I'll text you saying, I still remember.
Still mad about it.
Still mad about it. But no, why should I give a shit about Mario Golf?
I don't really know how to sell it to somebody who doesn't already care. I just played Mario Golf for the N64 and enjoyed it, and it looks more appealing than like the typical PGA Tour golf simulator silliness because of wacky Mario characters and like weird courses and stuff. It's a little less boring and less sleep-inducing as regular golf tends to be.
A lot of people are saying it's like comfort food, and I'm like, that's interesting because to me it's like,
it's a comfy game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just chill out, play the back nine.
That's
a
like,
golf term, I think.
Yeah,
that rush mode looked pretty cool though. The fact that it's just like a free for all of everyone's just going all the time. I feel like that could be really
I wonder
fun.
if it's possible to interfere with other people.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like, can you drop kick someone on the way? You know, like
or could you hit your ball into them to mess up their swing?
Yeah, you know how they showed like you have power ups. Can you like use the ice flower to like shove into someone to slow them down or knock them off?
I think that was in the trailer. Yeah, I think you can do that.
If so, that looks like it's fun. Let's hope it's on the new Nintendo servers and not on the old ones. We'll just pray for that.
Also do want to say, those new character costumes for Mario Golf look really freaking good.
Yeah,
How they basically redesigned everyone.
It does look like they put more effort into it than they did Mario Tennis. I will give them that. It does look like more of a game.
They put Bowser in regular clothes. It was so
They gave Wario a cowboy hat. What's that got to do with golf?
Who cares, dude? It looks great.
But it was just like it was just so funny because I was watching earlier. We're filming this early, so BlizzCon was today. For those of you who are aware, and I was watching the behind the scenes of Overwatch 2, the game that's never coming out. And they were talking about how they were doing the new character designs, they're designing all the characters over again, and they were just talking about how all the little intricate details that they've gone into making these new characters look unique and look Asian, stuff like that. And in my back of my head, I was just like, so what's Nintendo's reasoning behind Wario's outfit in Mario Golf? we gave him this cowboy hat because of his character arc in the past couple of games. Like what? Like it was just making me laugh. I'm just like, what kind of character design? Because Waluigi just looks like Waluigi, so why is it just Wario?
That is funny.
You'll never know. But no, that looks cool.
Wario and Waluigi were always the characters that Camelot, back when they used to make the sports games, they would just have so much fun with.
Yeah.
Like, they would make them do all the crazy antics in the openings.
Yeah, the Mario Power Tennis opening was a sight to behold.
Oh, yeah.
So now that looks comfy. And then there were some more little game announcements. We're not going to talk about all the little game announcements because a lot of them don't care about. Or they're not, like, for example, Tales from the Borderlands coming to Switch. Great. If you haven't played it, go play it. But it's nothing new. And a lot of the games also that were announced are on other consoles, I noticed. So,
yeah.
Next big thing.
No More Heroes.
Yeah, No More Heroes 3 got a date.
Got a release date.
It did.
Which I don't think anyone else noticed. I said it during the React. That's a delay. No one's really put that out there, but they said first half of 2021. So no one noticed. Like, everyone's just like, "Oh, cool, it's got a date now." But I'm like,
it's been pushed back so many times now. I think we just kind of became numb to it.
Yeah, I was just like, everyone was like, "Oh, cool, it's got a date," and I was just sitting there going, "That's a delay." It's not like has Nintendo somehow by just giving August as the release date, if they somehow just got around everyone's brains not realizing it's a delay. But hey, as long as it's good, who cares?
I mean, it looks like it'll be good. They've opened up the world to be even wackier than it was before. So.
Oh yeah, now they're bringing space aliens into this.
Yeah,
my best description of it is it looks like a game for people who are fans of 1 and 2. That's what it looks like to me. It doesn't really look like a kind of game where, oh, if you're new, jump in here. This is where we're gonna.
Oh yeah.
Like it very much feels like it's for its niche. Because to me, I didn't see anything where I was like, oh, I need to pick this up. It was more of a like, oh, it looks like it's more No More Heroes 1 and 2, which is great for the people that love those games like you guys. But for someone like me, there's nothing where I'm like, oh, now I need to pick this up in August. I'm just going to be like, I'll see how it does and then maybe get around to it eventually.
Hey, if you want to try out No More Heroes 1 and 2, they're also on the Switch now.
They are.
Go give them a whirl.
Yeah.
Fun romps.
Yeah, if you're into it. Then to prove it was a Kyle's direct that we were just living in, Project Triangle Strategy.
Triangle Strategy.
Because apparently, if apparently Square Enix hadn't listened enough to Kyle's pleas of an old school like Final Fantasy kind of game with Octopath Traveler, they then went, "How about if we pull out the Final Fantasy Tactics on your asses and make it in the same engine?" And I was just like, as soon as I saw it, I'm just like, "This is Kyle's game," because I was sitting there brain dead, going, "This isn't for me," but I'm sure Kyle's really happy.
Oh man, I absolutely adore Final Fantasy Tactics. So seeing this game. Seeing Octopath-styled characters and an Octopath-styled world with Final Fantasy Tactics gameplay, I was just in heaven. And then they said the demo was going to be available right after the Direct, and I played that, and my god, it's everything I want, and I need more of it, and 2022 was a very long time away for this great game.
Let's talk about it, because I've added an extra timestamp, because I forgot that they released a demo about it, so we should actually probably talk about this game quite a bit. So what's like the general, what's the kind of description, like what's the general outline of this game, Carl, for anyone who missed the Direct, I guess? How would you describe it?
Like like story or
Story and gameplay. Mainly gameplay, because I'm sure they didn't give you much of story in it.
So the part they start you off in the demo is actually like a super story heavy part.
Wait, really?
They start you off at like chapter 6.
That
I don't know why they picked that late to start you in, but it's very bizarre. A lot of stuff happens.
I thought it was going to be like a side thing that wasn't, or like the first chapter. I don't think it was going to be like...
This is not one of the demos that keeps your progress.
No, I guess not. So, like, go on then. What's like the general gist of it, I guess?
I guess, like, the easiest thing to compare it to for, like, a modern comparison would be Fire Emblem, where you have a team of units, you all get deployed to an area, and then you basically just have to do whatever the objective is on the map, be that defeat all the enemies or reach a certain point in the map, like get your characters to X location or whatever.
Yeah.
And all the characters like fall into their own class archetypes. Like you've got healers, you've got horse riders, you've got archers. One girl rides a giant eagle, which is pretty cool.
No, that's pretty neat.
But no.
You've got your mages, yeah.
Yeah.
If you're familiar with like fantasy archetypes, I'm sure you can fill in the blanks on what kind of characters you'd encounter here.
Mm-hmm. Is it a Nintendo exclusive again? Is it well timed?
At the
is
moment,
it like a timed exclusive?
I don't know if it's timed, but
I assume it will be. I'm sure it's probably like Octopath, where it'll show up everywhere when it's done.
Epic Game Store in no time.
Is it on Stadia? Was Octopath on Stadia?
Yeah,
I was like, like out of all the games to go on Stadia, like Octopath
Hey man,
Traveler.
Octopath was good, and you should play it.
Hey, I own it.
I know you do. Now get to the playing part.
One day.
The thing there is, I don't think the people who using Stadia are exactly looking for Octopath Traveler.
Yeah, that's why I thought it was.
It's very bizarre, but it's also on Steam.
Mm-hmm. So you should go play it if you haven't already. But no, it
does
look. It looks interesting. Again, to me, I kind of droned out because as soon as I see tactical strategy, I'm just like, well, whoosh, goodbye. Like, at least with Octopath, I'm like, oh, I can get behind a turn-based system event. Like, even if I'm terrible, I can just mash the buttons until it works. But with turn-based, like with like a strategy game, I'm just like, oh no. So I don't know. This one doesn't appeal to me as much, but I'm sure for the fans of Final Fantasy Tactics, they've been looking for something like this for a while that isn't Fire Emblem. I'm sure they're really looking forward to it.
There's a really good video essay by a YouTuber. I'm pretty sure. I think it was K-Bash who did a video on wartime strategy games like Final Fantasy Tactics and old Fire Emblem before Fire Emblem became just
a juggernaut
waifu simulator.
Yeah,
but
fair enough.
Yeah, good work. You did good work on that video. I enjoyed it. And Project Triangle Strategy, I really hope they change and don't change that name.
They're going to take the working title off of the bottom, and the project is going to be called Triangle Strategy.
I'd love if it did ship with the name Triangle Strategy. That'd be so... Because Octopath Traveler just stuck to the point where it's like... Octopath Traveler was the most stupid name I ever heard, but people just kept saying it enough so that when the time came where the game was being released, they were like, well, we've got this stuck in everyone's heads now, we might as well just go with it. And so I hope
or if they come up with a better title, they better do it soon, because you don't want to be a month away and then suddenly Gods and Monsters isn't called Gods and Monsters anymore. Whatever
how
that
dare
was called
you
afterwards. How dare me?
How dare you? Immortals Phoenix Rising is such a great name for a video game compared to Gods and Monsters. It's so much simpler. But no, I'm glad that you have enjoyed the demo, and hey, 2022, Nintendo's got some stuff coming out, I guess. So let's get back to the Direct. Then some other stuff happened. Does anyone remember what happened between now and the final game? That's the real question.
I think we got into Zelda Block next.
Oh.
Hades is getting a physical release.
There you go. Don't forget that one.
Yeah.
So,
I did backflips over
Default comes out at the end of this week. Plants vs. Zombies.
Oh yeah, Battle for Neighborville or whatever, Garden Warfare 3 is coming to Switch.
I don't remember if this was earlier in this part, but the Danganronpa people are making a
that is,
game.
which looked weird to me because at first they were like, "Oh, the Danganronpa people are doing a Danganronpa game," but then they were
It's like no, it's like
no. Then
Oregon
the events,
Trail.
and then it's like, but the events very quickly cancelled and no one dies and they go on a journey. I'm like, okay. Shouldn't that?
Very
It's like
weird.
you can
But,
tell it's
you
the
know.
Danganronpa people because they've already stuck a plot twist in before the game needs it, and it's like, oh, okay.
True.
I know why they've probably got that ahead because they don't want people buying it thinking, "Ooh, Danganronpa again," and then it not being that. But at the same time, it just kind of felt like, why? Why did you tell us this? It's interesting. But yeah, so that happened. And like you say, Hades got a physical release again, which is interesting. Still no console release on all the other ones. I assume that's still coming at some point. They'd be an
You'd
idiot.
assume, but also
they'd be
they
idiotic
never
not
put-
to.
Yeah, they never put Pyre anywhere besides PlayStation, so who knows?
I feel like
And
Hades is the
Pyre-
game. Hades is their
It's
breakout.
a bigger game, yeah, for sure.
It's probably just like Fall Guys, where we're just gonna wait for it forever. And by the time everyone's forgotten about or just bought it on Switch because they're like, oh well, that's it. It's just like, oh, here it is. I'm like, damn, okay. But no, that was interesting.
Yeah,
There was a lot of
Come to the sticky
JRPGs.
art book.
There
Yeah.
was.
I'll give it that. People are saying there are too many JRPGs. I'm just like, hey, Nintendo can't control what the publishers are making, so like to them, we were talking about this. People are like, oh, all Nintendo makes is JRPGs. All they have is Fire Emblem and Xenoblade. That's all they have. Because I'm not counting Zelda as a full-on JRPG.
Yeah.
No.
Even Breath of the Wild is more of a Western RPG than it is a JRPG with the way that that's built.
Yeah,
So
it's just got Japanese flair to it.
yeah. So one interesting thing was we didn't see Shin Megami Tensei 5, which I think is really concerning for that game because that was supposed to be coming out the first half of this year, which is interesting. So I was like, no Atlas, weird. There was a small part of me that was like, this might be the time Golden finally goes to Switch. Not 5, because that's never happening.
Not 5.
Not 5, but
5
Golden.
is not happening.
But it didn't, so that was weird. I was like, no Atlas. Interesting.
Nah, man, the next time you see Atlas at a Nintendo Direct, it's going to be the revival of Trauma Center.
They'll be like, we're finally giving you fans what you've been waiting for. And then they're like, ooh, Persona, and then it's not. And then it's great. Watch everyone cry.
Now you get to play Wacky Doctor game.
Wacky Doctor game. Love it. And then I guess the final game that we should talk about was the final reveal. Oh, we should talk about, actually, Skyward Sword HD. Forgot Skyward Sword HD.
HD.
Skyward Sword HD.
Big old
HD.
quotes there.
Yeah. Aonuma came out and said, I know what you've been waiting for, but I haven't brought the goods, fam. And then everyone went, damn it. And then Aonuma went, hang on, if you think you're offended now, just give me 5 minutes and I'll annoy you even more. Here's Skyward Sword HD that looks no fucking different. Like,
really doesn't.
usually I'm like, oh, give them the benefit of the doubt, but I've seen the side-by-sides. There's no fucking difference.
Game Explain put out a comparison between the Wii and the Switch versions. Besides making the graphics look sharper
and the
and,
HUD
like, a little-
less atrocious,
a little
Yeah.
darker, like it's the same game.
The faces are still awful, which baffles me. Because if I was going to go back and if there was one thing that I'd fix about Skyward Sword, it's the character models. If you like them, fair enough. But to me, whenever I see that Link and Zelda's face, I'm just like, oh god, what happened to you? Like,
It wasn't really
I think it's-
noticeable on the Wii version, but
Yeah.
just because of how the Switch upscaled them,
Yeah.
like
it just doesn't look good. But
yeah.
I think it'll be interesting to see what they actually change in terms of gameplay.
Mhm.
Because a lot, like, with Wind Waker, they obviously shortened the whole
They
end
cut
quest.
back on a lot of the tedious parts.
Yeah, for the...
Yeah,
Like the Triforce quest.
the Triforce
and even
quest.
sailing, like you got the fast sail,
hmm
which automatically changed the wind direction when you used it.
Yeah,
So-
exactly.
That was just less time spent playing the wind changing song.
So it's going to be interesting to see what kind of changes they make like that. But in terms of graphical enhancements and whatever, there's no reason to pick this up if you're just going for the graphical enhancements, because there genuinely looks like no fucking difference.
Yeah.
Especially when you can still pick up a digital copy on the Wii U eShop for $20. And I'm sure Nintendo will remove that because they do that every time that they release a physical game. So you can no longer buy your Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze without Funky Mode for $20 on Wii U. But it just kind of seemed like an insult, to be honest. And many people have come forward. One person included is Jeff Grubb, I believe, has come forward and said, for those of you who are disappointed about Twilight Princess and Wind Waker, don't worry, they are coming. They're just going to charge full price for both of those individually as well later. So I'm just sitting there going, oh my god, they are going to do this. It
feels like a bit much to release all in a short period of time, though.
It does, and I'm sure they're going to space it out. My guess is when they said information on Zelda coming later in the year, my guess is they'll release another one. They'll go, we've got news of Breath of the Wild, but it's still not coming out, so here you go. Here's Wind Waker again, the one that does look a bit different. So I don't know. As a Zelda, as someone that loves Breath of the Wild, it's one of my favorite games of all time. Just normal Zelda games just don't really do it for me that much. They're too linear. They're too to me. I don't find that kind of dungeon design that interesting. Which is why I can't wait for Breath of the Wild 2 when they actually do dungeons, and they better do it. Where you will have these dungeons where you have multiple ways to solve a problem. Because the shrines are great with that. I love the fact that you can get 5 people in a room for a shrine in Breath of the Wild, and everyone could have a completely different, fucked up way, and no one will have done it the intended way. I love that kind of shit, where it's like... Mm-hmm.
My favorite one that I baffled someone with is you know how there's the couple where you have to make the electric trail to go from point A to point B. Well, for whatever reason, I neglected to notice because it gave you a few metal boxes.
Yeah,
I neglected to notice one of them.
Yeah,
so I was working with that by just dropping my metal weapons on the ground.
Yeah,
and making a trail.
But no. So yeah, that's why
just
I'm
cool
looking.
Stuff like that.
I love stuff like that, and that's why that's interesting to me. Regular Zelda dungeons are just I figured it out, and the gameplay isn't that engaging to me. So I'm just like, okay, that's cool. I'm just here for the story, which is good. Sometimes Zelda stories are good. But
I quite like
Majora's Mask is great. Story. Skyward Sword's pretty good too.
So maybe if it was cheaper, if it was $40, I would have been like, yeah, I'll get it.
God, it's $60.
The fact it's $60 is, especially after, and we'll talk about it in a little bit, Bowser's Fury and 3D World being released, and the amount of changes and additions and an additional fucking side game they added to that to make it $60. To them, for the Zelda fans to just go, it's 1080p now, I guess, and then go, there you go, $60. It's kind of an insult, really.
Looking Joy-Cons too. How's that sound? We'll call
sold
it square.
Separately. So yeah,
Happy
that kind
35th anniversary. Here's a re-release of the 25th anniversary game,
which they didn't even say in the direct, which is hilarious. But no, so the Zelda stuff was kind of disappointing to me, anyway. And then finally, wrapping it up was the surprise,
because we forgot to mention this before. Age of Calamity is also getting an expansion.
Oh yeah, they showed a JPEG that lasted 30 seconds.
Yeah, I just figured it was worth mentioning.
Yeah, and it also that's a good point. That's a good point, Hunter, because it also mentions, the season pass mentions that the second half is out in November, which now screams to me that Breath of the Wild 2 is not coming this year. It is definitely a 2022 game, which is going to disappoint people, because, man, is 2022 going to be a good year, apparently, for Nintendo, with Octopath and Zelda. Project Triangle Strategy, Triangle Strategy, Breath of the Wild 2, hopefully in the next Mario game, because it'll have been 5 years at that point. And then also the final announcement that came out of nowhere, Splatoon 3. Because Nintendo loves asking the question, how many Splatoons can we make before another Mario Kart? And so far the answer's 3. Let's see if we can go for more, baby. It's my favourite tweet I saw was someone was like, Mario Kart 8 came out in 2014, Splatoon 1 came out in 2015. So technically we have had 3 Splatoon games before another Mario Kart, which to me is crazy.
It's
That is
crazy to
wacky.
me that a Splatoon 3 is even happening.
I
Because
know.
to me, I'd think that Splatoon 2 could have just been like infinitely updated with whatever content they wanted to add.
Do you know what's
The thing
go on,
about
Hunter.
2 is that it kind of came out so quickly that it barely seemed like much more than a Splatoon
It was a
Deluxe.
port of 1. It was 100% a port of 1's engine. Because at first I was like, oh, why are they doing this? And then I saw people posting screenshots on Twitter, and they were like, no, seriously, look at the difference. They've actually, like, this looks like a Switch game. I'm like, I didn't realize how shitty Splatoon 2 looked from, like, a visual perspective. It does look just like a Wii U game that it looks like exactly like Splatoon 1. I was like, oh, damn. Okay, I can see why they might be doing this. Especially if, from the looks of it, the single player might be taking a different turn this time around.
Yeah.
Which is exciting.
But I don't know, man. Splatoon 2 is a weird game. It's my most played Switch game, which is a surprise to even myself because I don't remember playing it that much. But it didn't really hit me like the first one did. I'd played enough Splatoon 1, and when Splatoon came out and it was more of the same, I was like, that's cool. Like, I don't really feel like grinding it.
That's how I felt too. I didn't even play the single player for 2, just because of when I happened to get it. But I eventually went back and played it here and there. And
Like,
had my
it's
fun,
still
but-
good. But looking at Splatoon 3, there was something about Splatoon 3 that, as stupid as it was, and as funny as it was to say, Splatoon 3, like, what a meme, like, we're getting another one. There was a part of me that was like, you know, the more I think about it, the more I feel like, yeah, it's time for an actual, like, Splatoon sequel that isn't just a full-on port. Like, it feels like, new engine, new look, like, they're just going for it. I very much like that Splatoon, they get little bonus points here for the fact that they have removed the boy or girl thing. It's just whatever you want now. Especially because that game...
Just design your character.
Yeah. Especially because that game, I didn't realize until I checked Twitter that the Splatoon community is really, like, massively LGBTQ plus. So I didn't realize that. So the fact that a company like Nintendo from Japan realized that, I went, cool, we'll cut it out. I'm like, fair play, because Nintendo's very much usually just like, you know, not very, like, culturally
Are you
aware.
a boy or a girl?
Yeah, it's not culturally aware, you know, so... Even in Pokemon now, where they're like, oh no, we don't say are you, but we're like, what do you look like? It's still like, you've still just got three generic, obviously separated people and not like a mix or match. So the fact that they've just done that, I'm like, big props. I'm looking forward to it. Again, it's a 2022 game. It's like, why have you announced this now?
Can I just say that the weird post-apocalyptic Mad Maxy theme feels like a kind of natural evolution from the skate punky theme.
I think I said this to you, Hunter, during the React. I think I was like, at first, like, it's so weird to me that Splatoon 3 comes out and goes, it's Mad Max now, anarchy reigns, weird whole desert thing, and my brain just instantly went, yeah, that makes sense. That's the logical progression of the Splatoon franchise. It didn't go.
Yeah,
this
it
is
actually
a weird
makes
spin.
a lot of sense.
Go on.
It goes from especially if you consider like it being timely with today. What would semi-topical wacky ink people be like if you wanted to make it a bit more topical, go from weird skate punky kind of vibe to post-apocalyptic.
But no,
I just want to say, if when this video comes out and the Eiffel Tower's turned upside down, we had nothing to do with it.
yeah, exactly. But no,
Don't ask me how someone would turn the Eiffel Tower upside down, but we didn't
No,
do it.
you shoot the light arrow at the red thing in the front of the temple.
That's right. I remember now.
But no, Splatoon 3 was a weird pick. I was like, interesting. But the more I thought about it, the more I'm like, it's time. And it looks like they are trying. Because the thing is, with Splatoon, was Splatoon 1, and even though Splatoon 2 was a rush and it did feel more like a port, they did put their fucking effort into it, to be fair to them.
Yeah.
There was a whole story mode. They added
stuff.
added a bonus like zombies mode to it. They did Octo expansion.
Expansion, yeah.
They did a lot for that game, and I'm like, Splatoon's massive in Japan, so no wonder they're doing a third one.
Community too.
So yeah, it's going to be interesting having two games on the same platform. That's going to be an interesting one because it works for every other shooter. So will it work for Splatoon? I think it will. I think people that like Splatoon are going to buy Splatoon. I'm definitely going to buy it. So they've won me over.
I'll probably check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's overall. That was the Nintendo Direct. Final thoughts.
And finally,
oh wow,
finally,
go on.
Bayonetta 3 and Metroid Prime 4 are just an illusion. They're not real.
And they can't hurt you.
When did Bayonetta 2 come out? Was that end of 2014?
It was 2014.
How many Splatoon games can we get out before Bayonetta 3?
At least 12.
3!
3, apparently.
But no. That was... What overall, like, conclusion, what was your thoughts? Because everyone's been mixed, but I thought, in all honesty, I don't think people realise how many shit directs we've had, because in my opinion, it was a pretty good one. I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, I liked it.
There's a lot of good stuff that I'm interested in picking up at some point.
Yeah.
Like, to me, it just started off on a high, announcing Pyra and Mithra, and then it just stayed there. Like, sure, it had some low points, but then I just kind of ignored the low points.
I know people wanted Breath of the Wild. I know people, for some reason, some people got their hopes up thinking that Mario was going to show up, and I was like, they've just released Bowser's Fury. They're not that stupid. You know, I think people really got their hopes up.
He's going golfing.
Yeah, they got their hopes up for a lot of stuff, I think, Mario Kart and stuff like that. And I was just like...
Yeah.
I was like, the stuff that they did show looks really fucking solid. Like, they all look like quality things. So I'm like, hey, if everything's going to come out in 2022, that's fair enough, because it looks like 2022, again, is going to be a great year. Imagine if they added Mario Kart on top of that. That, like, honestly, if Mario Kart does show up next year, then that's it. Nintendo has 2022. Then I'll give it to them, Hunter. That's when I'll give it to them.
That's when you'll give it to them.
Because, like, that's... Oh, honestly, though, because, like, if you imagine 2022 as just 2017 2, where it starts off with a Zelda Breath of the Wild sequel, then you get Mario Kart 9, then you get Splatoon 3, and then it wraps up with a Mario game, they've just fucking won that. That's it. That's like, oh god, they've done it again.
God of War doesn't stand a chance.
Yeah, they've done it again. ARMS 2. Just add that in as well. Just do it all over again.
2.
Min Strikes Back.
Hey, I thought that it was Xenoblade 2 for a small part of that trailer. There was a small part of me that was like...
That Smash trailer didn't open up with the Smash Cross, so I'm like, oh, hey, cool, Xenoblade 2 stuff. I'm fucking down. You're playing Drifting Souls? Alright, I'll go get the tissues.
Well, it was like, more Xenoblade? And then it was like, Pyra's gone. I'm like, Pyra and Smash? And then they just kept going, and I'm like, nah, it's just more Xenoblade stuff, right?
Like, dude, it's a side story.
Yeah, it's a side story, but no.
We're giving more support 2 years after the game ended.
But yeah. Overall, I think it was really good. So there you go. There's our full review of the Nintendo Direct that we just had, and I can't wait to do this with you guys again in a year and a half's time.
See you in another 540 days.
Yeah, you'll love to see it. We've got a couple of things that we can talk about before we wrap it up. We have got there was a new release a week or so, like it'll be a week and a couple of days ago, that we didn't actually talk about in the previous episode. So I picked up 3D World and Bowser's Fury after deliberating for a long time on whether I would or wouldn't. We'll just do this while Hunter goes away. Look at this. Look at it. No dedication.
It's like, anyway, well, I did my part.
Well, see ya. I'll come back when I have to talk about my PS5. But anyway, Kyle, I picked up Bowser's Fury and 3D World. And you're someone that really likes 3D World. I respect you because I think it's one of the best, if not the best, 3D Mario game. I fucking love 3D World to pieces. So of course I was going to pick it up because I picked up New Soup Deluxe. So of course I was going to pick this up. But my god, playing through 3D World again just made me realize of how fucking great of a game 3D World is.
3D World is really fucking great.
And the adjustments that they've made, like this is the first time that they've used. They didn't even call it Mario Bros. Super Mario 3D World Deluxe. They didn't even call it that. And this is the first time where I feel like the Deluxe name would have been justified because they actually made changes. All the characters are faster. The game feels so much better to play. They added like a dive mechanic, like in Odyssey, where if you press the slam button and the X button at the same time, you do like a little somersault forward.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and you can use that. So you can use that to do some really cool stuff. You can kind of break the game with it, and they knew about it, and they were just like, let it slide. I assume it was all for stuff because of Bowser's Fury. They wanted it to feel as much as like Odyssey as possible. Mm-hmm. But they decided, we can add that into 3D World as well, which is really cool. They also added, nice little touch, so much so I didn't realise that this was a thing. You know in Odyssey when you like body slam into a pipe, you'll go super quick into it instead of having the stupid animate? They added that into 3D World. And I just naturally was like, that's already in the game. But it wasn't.
Yeah.
They added that. And they also added if you do like a tumble into the pipe, it does it the same way horizontally. So they added loads of movement tech. I'm sure the speedrunners are loving this new version of it.
Mm-hmm.
But man, 3D World is great.
That's something I've always loved about 3D World. Like, it just felt good to play, which really helps a platformer. Like, platformers live and die by their movement.
And I feel like the linear level design, as much as people love 64 and love Sunshine and love the more open level design, there's something about the linear design with the controls of a 3D Mario game that just kind of works, where it's like, oh, the level's built to be played in a certain way, and it just kind of works. There's less experimentation, but man, does it feel good to run through these levels as quickly as possible and just get them done. It's really damn fun. So I'd already recommend it if you haven't played 3D World in general. But then they added this little thing called Bowser's Fury on the end of it. And when people are saying that it's like a mini Mario game that they've added, they're not lying. It's like 4 hours long, and it's fucking fantastic. The people aren't bullshitting. It's actually fantastic. Is it the future of 3D Mario, as everyone's been saying on their saying in their fucking video essays or whatever? The IGN articles, where the Bowser's Fury is the future of 3D Mario. I don't know about that. But it's a damn cool concept. The whole idea of it is, what if we did Odyssey, but instead of the load screens between the kingdoms and just going about, what if all the kingdoms were just in one world and there were mini levels in one world and you can go between them at any time and just kind of do them and free roam them whenever you want? And it works so damn well that I'm like, why haven't they done this sooner? Like, it's kind of convinced me that Odyssey 2 is probably going to be a thing, because I feel like this was a tech demo for it, because it feels like the natural extension to it of like, basically you have these things called sunshine, cat shines. I nearly was like sunshine. Cat shines, they are the shines from Sunshine, but with a cat face on them. And basically you're collecting them. There's 100 of them in the one level. There's multiple ways to get them, like the coin method, like the coins in 64, or getting to the end of the course, or doing special things. Each time you go back to it, it'll change and there'll be a new objective for you, like in 64, but instead of just it pulling you out of the level and you having to go back, it's just, oh, okay, I've done the one over here, I'm going to go check out this other level, and by the time you come back, there's another objective just waiting for you. There's no really sit down waiting time between them. You just go to another place, come back, oh, there's something cool for me to do now.
That's fun.
Yeah. And there's the whole gimmick is you have this big, massive fuck-off Bowser in the map, where every random arbitrary amount of time, sometimes I was waiting forever, sometimes he gave me 60 seconds of rest and was like, I'm coming back. And I'm like, no, not now, I'm busy. Basically, this massive Bowser comes in, and instead of him just being, I'm here to torment you, he's actually used in the level design where he's like, oh, it's Bowser time, now is the time for him to... Hunter?
Sorry about that.
It's fine.
My computer wigged out for him.
There you go. Those Discord noises were on our end, by the way, if you're in a Discord call while listening.
It reminds me of this YouTuber I used to watch. He would always have Facebook Messenger opened and in his videos, so every time I'd hear like Facebook notification dings going off, I'm like, what the... I don't even have Facebook open. Why am I hearing this?
Hunter, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Your videos were just like behind for me for a second is all.
Cool. But anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so this Mega Bowser, who is basically just like Godzilla, basically. He's from like a kaiju movie. Instead of you just being like, oh, run away, he's kind of built into level design where he's like, oh, there are only certain blocks that Bowser can break. So I now need to use him to get access to new areas to get more collectibles. There's kind of like a back and forth where the level design changes because of Bowser, and it's really well done. Collect a cat shine or take too long and he'll fuck off. If you collect a collectible, he'll go away. But if you he'll eventually leave you alone. Collect more shines, unlock more areas, and then you'll eventually defeat him or whatever. Sorry, spoilers for a Mario game.
Oh, heck, dude, why would you
You're
do
telling me
that?
Bowser doesn't win?
You've made this game
sorry,
unplayable.
but man, it's so good. Like, it's really short. You can do it in one sitting. I did it in one sitting, where it was that good that I played it for 6 hours straight. Basically, I was just like, "This is great. I'm gonna play it." And man, is it good! Like, each of the worlds you've got Plessy from 3D World, but 3 full control going between the islands, kind of sunshiny. That's why the fact that it was all on an ocean kind of reminded me a bit of Sunshine in general. I was like, this is how they should have done a Sunshine Odyssey world, man. This is how you do it. And it kind of is that. You can also control Bowser Jr. He's a bit fucking pointless though, so I'm not really going to mention him. You just tap on the symbols in the air and he'll collect items for you and stuff like that. He'll help defeat enemies. But no, it's really good to the point where I'm like, if you played the original 3D World and you feel like, oh, I want to play that again with better controls and better movement, and on top of it you get Bowser's Fury, it's worth it. I think it's great.
Yeah.
Actually justifies the full price.
Yeah.
So I might do a review of it. I haven't fully decided yet because there's not really that much to talk about other than it's damn great. But
If you can get friends to play the regular campaign with, like,
oh yeah,
that game's amazing.
I forgot to mention it does have online as well. And if you are close by, if for example, if me and Kyle tried to play it, it would probably be poopy. It'd probably be awful. Yeah. It probably wouldn't work that well. But if you're living in the same, if you've got like regular friends that you're living in the same city with, or you're living rather close to, it works well enough for it to be like, oh, it doesn't actually feel that bad. There are a couple of levels where it does feel bad, such as the level that's built to the rhythm of that music. I don't remember what the level's name is, but it lags like hell if you do it, because it's got to keep everything in time, and because the music is the timer, the music's lagging as well. It's really weird.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Where it kind of slows down and then speeds up again to catch up. It's like, but other than that, it works really well. So no. 3D World is the first time where I've been actually, like, to Nintendo saying they've actually justified porting this and making it a purchase for those people that actually did own a Wii U. It actually is the first time where I'm like, unless you really want all these games on Switch and just throw your Wii U away, if that's what you're aiming for, then fair enough, buy it. But this is the first time where I'm like, no, this is the one to go and get if you want to. Especially, they've given people that like me who play the original a reason to double dip, because Bowser's Fury is fucking fantastic. All the adjustments that they made to 3D World are great, and also 3D World is already a great 3D Mario game.
It is.
You should definitely play. So yeah.
I feel like just because it was on the Wii U, it kind of got forgotten by people.
Yeah, like most things on the Wii U.
But no, it's fantastic. I highly recommend it. You guys should definitely check it out if you haven't. Yeah, it's damn great.
So now, real quick, is Bowser's Fury available right from the start?
Yes.
Nice.
It's not an expansion, it's a separate game. So when you boot up the game, it comes up with like a sub menu saying, do you want to play 3D World or do you want to play Bowser's Fury? So I just played Bowser's Fury first because I'd already played 3D World. And after playing Bowser's Fury, I'm like, damn, I kind of want to play 3D World. So I've been playing through it again. And I'm now at like, I'm like in World 6, I think. Because I've been playing as every character in every level like a madman. Yeah. It's really good. I'd recommend it. So there you go. Well done, Nintendo. I'm not buying your other port. Hunter can do that. If Hunter wants to review Skyward Sword HD, be my guest. Off you go.
Oh.
Of course, Nintendo, if you want me to, you can always send me a review copy, but that's never going to happen. Anyway, that's enough talking about Nintendo. We've talked enough. It's time to get back on our Sony pony train, as we always like to do, apparently. Because Hunter, you finally joined the 5 of us that own a PS5. Welcome to the club. And by 5 of us, I mean 5 of us on the planet, not in the HGO group.
No, you and I are the only two in that case.
Yeah, so it's time for me
Sam's
to
trying his best,
and Kane's also trying. But it's time for me to finally shut up about talking about PS5 because we finally have someone else to talk about it instead. So what have you been up to, Hunter? I'll let you take the lead.
The first thing I did was I played the Astrobot thing, and I really, I enjoyed that for what it was, and I hope they make an actual like full blown, platformer game for him sometime soon.
They need to.
That isn't VR, so that I can actually play it.
I think they will because of how well received Astro's Playroom is. To me, it's a must. Like, honest, the fact that it's free on your PS5, it's a must play for anyone to play. To be honest, it shows the controller off really well, and it's damn good at what it does.
A good job at establishing what the controller's like fancy new things are.
It does the adaptive triggers.
In fact, do feel like bowstrings.
Mm-hmm. It does adaptive triggers better than.
It even makes a creaking noise when you have it drawn back and like move. So that's a good touch. The way they integrate sound into that is actually something that I don't really think I heard many people mention. They're always talking about the haptic things, but the noises that they make your controller make during all of that too, I feel like has a pretty decent effect on what you feel like you're feeling.
I think I mentioned it in the first impressions that I did, but I did say that this is the first time where I feel like the speaker on the controller isn't a fucking waste of time or a gimmick. Like, it actually does help. It actually does what it should have done in the first place. Whereas originally on the PS4, you had these awful ideas of integration of the PS4 speaker in the controller, where it's like, oh, in GTA, the sirens will come through the thing, or like someone will have a terrible idea of like, oh, in Call of Duty Black Ops 3, I know this because I played a lot of zombies, where they were like, oh, we'll have the menu clicks, when you're clicking up, like when you're going through a menu, and it makes like the ding, 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 like just the regular menu noises. Let's have them come through full force in the controller, so that
why?
Because it was a terrible idea and it was awful. Whereas in on the play,
honestly, I hated the way they integrated all of the PlayStation 4 controllers gimmicks. Yeah. Turning the thing sideways to do spray paint and Infamous was a little annoying.
I kind of like it. Was gimmicky, but I kind of liked it. Dude, like I don't have a controller on me, but it was like, yeah, hold the R2 button like this, and like spray can the thing. We'll bring back Infamous just for that. But no, the sound on the actual DualSense really works, because if they're not doing stuff like this, from the games that I've played, they've just not been using it, which is the way to do it. That's the way to go.
Yeah.
But man, it works really well in Astro's Playroom.
Another little bit on Astrobot real quick. SSD Speedway's song is great. That world song. It's been stuck in my head.
I love GPU Jungle, dude.
Oh, man.
The music, can I just say, honestly, if you haven't, go and do yourself a service, and if you haven't listened to the Astro's Playroom soundtrack, go listen to it. It honestly is in like my top 3 soundtracks of last year, along with Persona 5 Royal and Final Fantasy 7 Remake. My third favourite was Astro's Playroom, and that is higher than Crash and Last of Us. In terms of soundtracks, it's actually incredible. It's such a good soundtrack. Honestly, go listen to it. But no, it's funny because you mentioned SSD Speedway. That's my least favorite level in that game out of the 4 of them.
I wasn't too fond of it either. It's weird, like rocket gimmick there. I wasn't happy.
I was fine with the rocket. It was the start where you had like they had to use the touchpad because, of course, they did. Where you have like the little
hang glider,
little hang glider, where you aim your controller up and then you swipe the touchpad to fling him, and then you've got like this awful like gimmicky like paraglider section, which is awful. That's the only part where I'm like, that's garbage. Like, because everything else they do with the controller is pretty damn good in that game, but that part I'm like, nah, that's shit.
That wall climbing part of GPU Jungle is a nice preview of how the next Uncharted game's gonna play.
Imagine if as you were climbing you had to half press the triggers or else Nate would just die. That'd be great.
Yeah, basically, yeah, because holding up isn't good enough anymore. You have to wiggle the controller.
Yeah, the basic description for you, Kyle, is when the trigger, if there's like some of the little the holdings places on the rocks are broken, so you have to press the trigger in halfway, and the trigger will lock halfway. If you go over it, it'll break the thing and you'll fall to your death. But if you just press it halfway, if you press but it locks halfway, so you know that you're doing it right. It's really weird while it works, but it's really weird. But no, I liked it a lot. So anyway. What else have you been up to, Hunter?
Aside from that, I don't intend on I had to buy the PS5 in a bundle. I don't intend on putting the either of the games I got into the console so I can just sell them back for more. So naturally, what I did to christen the disk drive was I put my copy of Transistor in it.
Nice. How loud's your disk drive? Out of curiosity.
No,
Is it
it's
loud?
not that bad.
What I've learned
Nah.
is it's very finicky console where you have to choose where to put it, because if you put it on a hollow wood thing like in a regular like cabinet for like a TV cabinet or whatever, if your wood is hollow or empty underneath, it'll make such a nasty noise. Like it just vibrates the shit out of itself. It also vibrates more with PS4 games than it does with PS5 games, but you know that.
Yeah, that's
why
interesting.
not? Why not? But you get
aside from doing that with the disc, I played around with Maneater for an hour. That was fun. Play as a shark. Surprisingly more sandbox pseudo RPG than I was expecting.
Really?
Like it was giving me quests, and I could go into a menu to select like little abilities to map to circle and stuff. I figured it was going to be an arcadey game. I'm probably not going to play that much more of that, but it was fun while I did it.
I've heard it's an easy platinum, though, Hunter.
Yeah, you're barking up the wrong tree. But yeah, you play as a shark, eat some people on the beach. You can, while a person is in your jaw, you can push L1 and throw them at another person. That's hilarious.
Nice, dude. Love it.
So that game gets a thumbs up from me. After that, I messed around with Resident Evil 7 for a little bit last night. I got a little past where the dude in the house punches you in the face and abducts you.
All I remember is my dad giving up on that game because he couldn't figure out how to get out. And it just got to a point where he was just like, I'm done. I've literally been walking around this house being chased by people for like 3 hours. I am done. I'm like, fair enough.
Nice, yeah.
But no.
The environmental design on that one's all right, though. They did a really good job at making just a disgusting-looking, unpleasant environment.
Yeah, have you shit yourself yet? That's the greatest question for a horror game.
No.
Don't put your head down like that, Kyle. It's a very valid question.
Did your dad shit himself while he was playing it?
Yeah, probably.
Oh my god!
Not like
actually,
metaphorically.
The Jack Baker, I think, is the guy's name that's like chasing you. He kind of diminished any kind of threatening aura he had when the first 2 times he tried to attack me. The first time he got blocked by a doorway. He grabbed me, and his incoming attack was intercepted by the doorway that I was standing in.
Nice.
And then the second time, he just whiffed. So
nice. 2 for 2.
He seems to be like a little testing bed for what they did with Mr. X, but it wasn't all there yet.
Yeah, but no, it's going to be interesting to see your thoughts on that game before Resi 8 comes out. So
yeah, I'm gonna try and have it done by then. It's not super long, I don't imagine. So
no, you'll easily have it done. Resi 8's like end of May, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you got plenty of time. But
and then after Resident Evil 7, I started dabbling with Bloodborne again.
Oh no!
And you know what? I think it's gonna stick this time.
Oh no! I've been meaning to. It's on my. Literally, I think I'm gonna play Strikers, and then after that, I'm gonna just play Bloodborne and just grin through it. Like I'm just gonna be like, I'm gonna give it a proper go. It's my game after Strikers. The
whole disconnect with me, I think, when I tried it the first other couple of times I made an attempt to play it, was I would try and play it a few times for like, let's say an hour and 45 minutes, and I got walled by the first area.
Where did you get to? Where did you get to?
Literally central Yarnum, like just the first area in the road.
Did you get to the bridge? It's not too
on these
far.
previous attempts, no, but I got to the bridge. I got further than I'd ever been before last night when I was playing. So I think the reason I was more okay with that was because the PS5 loads things faster. So
Yeah.
30 minutes of my hour and 45-minute attempts on playing this game the other few times were load screens.
Mm-hmm.
This time I was just dying and I was back into it, and I'm way more willing to fling myself at a brick wall when I can just not have to wait to do it.
Honestly, the load times are a blessing and a curse. They're a blessing because it's like, oh great, I can get in and out of games really quickly. It's really nice with the PS5 having a UI that doesn't suck. And that's coming from love for the PS4 UI. But if you apparently playing a video game on the PS4 and then pressing the home button to go back is apparently too much for the PS4 to handle at times, and it just takes a massive shit, and it's awful.
Yep.
So having a UI where you just hop in between things really quick is really nice to have. But it's a curse because then whenever you want to go back and play something on your Switch or something else, you're like, oh god. Back in the olden days again, where I've got to wait for like 15 seconds for a Mario level to load. What is this? Like, but no, it's good.
So yeah, I've been quite enjoying that. You know, it's funny because the other times I tried playing this game, I was insistent on using. They give you like 3 weapons to choose from at the start. Mm-hmm. There's that saw thing that you see them holding on the cover. That was the one I was always insistent on using. There was an axe. And then this time, the thing that I chose that I think I dismissed because I was like, oh, that's probably the magic weapon. It's a cane, but it's like a gimmicked sword cane that can also turn into a whip.
Yeah.
That's the one I chose because it's dapper as all get out, and whip swords are cool.
Yeah. I need to get back to it, man. Like, Bloodborne is that one game where I'm like, I need to do it. Because I was literally, my one playthrough of Bloodborne was the most pussy thing that I have ever done in my life. Where it was, to be honest, where my friend was watching it, who's a Dark Souls Bloodborne like expert, right? He absolutely adores these kinds of games. And man, he was watching me and I was like sweating because he's like, I know you're judging me for everything that I'm doing right now, but I got to the bridge hunter without dying. Like, I did the death.
Oh, nice.
I did the death where the forced death, whereas Bloodborne basically plays you, and it's like, you've got nothing. You need to die before you can even get a weapon, Kyle. The game's like, the game's just forcing you to die.
You could technically win if you really tried, but it's not worth it.
Well, no, I dodged the dog and got like halfway through, and I'm like, where's the weapons? And my friend was just laughing. I'm like, I was supposed to die to the dog, wasn't I? I was supposed to die, so I just killed myself and got the weapon. And then that first playthrough, I got all the way to the bridge without dying on my first attempt. I died on the bridge, and my friend was like, that's the furthest I've ever seen anyone on their first death get to. I'm impressed. I'm like, I'm glad you're impressed. I'm now going to close the game and say that was my like crowning glory with
Nice.
And then never played it again. I was like, nice. I'll get back to this. I'm not feeling it right now, and then never went back. So I need to.
First time I ended up getting double killed, like before I could get my like blood MacGuffins back, was by the big dude with the brick at the gate.
Oh yeah,
right before the bridge.
Yeah, he's a dick.
He killed me, and then I got killed on the way back the second time, and I'm like, oh, bummer. I had like 3,000 of those.
Yeah. I don't know. I need to do it. I need to prove to myself that I like these games.
It actually felt really good when I played it, too. So I'm happy it sticks, because looking at Bloodborne and just the kind of vibe it has with its like gothic fantasy and pointy buildings and all that, it's all very appealing to me. It was just playing the game was very difficult for me the first time, first couple attempts.
Yeah.
So now I'm happy to be enjoying it.
But now, yeah, it's good. So there we go. Hunter's PS. I guess you can talk about the UI real quick. How are you feeling about the UI? You said that the store was weird.
It's undoubtedly going to be better once I get used to it. It's just going to take some getting used to. That's all. And aside from that, kind of miss my humming transistor theme, but I'll get over it. I can just go highlight the game and listen to the background music there for a minute.
I do miss having the Persona. Like, it was a shame because Atlas did this nice gesture where they were like, we're going to make like these 13 PS4 themes and we're just going to give you them for playing through the game and beating it. And then you just get all these really cool PS4 themes. And then it's like, by the way, it's also the year the PS5's coming out. and you're just going to say goodbye to them. And I'm like, okay, cool. So I just miss all the Persona themes, and I'm like, oh, that's a shame. No one gets to listen to Persona music on my menu. But, oh well.
Repeat DP.
But no. There we go. I guess that's it. I guess we're done.
Yeah.
Unless Kyle has got some revelation, which I don't think he does.
No, I've just been playing Blaze Blue.
Nice.
How's that been going?
Oh, it's so fucking fun, dude. I picked up
How
a
many
new character.
wins are you up to now?
What's up?
How many wins you up to now?
I think I'm past 1,500.
Jeez.
Nice. Good
How many
job.
hours do you have? You become a Blaze Blue addict.
I think it's 150. I think I'm at 150 hours.
Oh,
That's
baby.
more than I've ever played a game on Switch. So fair play, congrats.
I mean, my most played is still Xenoblade 2.
Yeah.
And
I noticed in the
a big
PS5.
climb.
I know the PS5 library. It tells you what your hours on everything is now.
Yeah.
Like retroactively, it's telling me that for PS4 games.
Yep, it does
I'm
that.
like, that's cool. I played
170 hours. Yeah.
I played Devil May Cry 5 for 160 hours.
Jeez. Yeah, my Royal playthrough took 170 apparently.
Yeah.
And with 130, I think it was 140 hours of that were actual gameplay. So the rest of that, I don't know where it went, but it must have been the Tycoon or something. I must have genuinely played like 25 hours of Tycoon at some point. So
I think the highest
I believe
one,
it.
yeah.
I think the highest one I had was like 500 something on Dragon Age Inquisition.
Yeah,
It's like a 100-hour game that I've played a few times.
I have.
I wish it went as far back as the PS3 because whatever the number for Dragon Age Origins is probably real stupid. I've played that game way more times than any person reasonably should.
I'm glad I'm not, because I can just sit there going, looking at like my. It's shameful enough on PS4. Dude, looking and being like, "Oh, I spent 700 hours on Overwatch. Great, thanks for that." But no, I'm glad because I don't want to see how many hours I put into stuff on PS3. But no, with that, I guess we're done for today, guys. Good job, everybody. We did another episode of HGO. You'll love to see it. But no, that's been our show. Thanks for listening. Remember, you can get this show on podcast services everywhere. Just head to the Hot Gamers Only Twitter account at Hot Gamers Only, or head to Linktree at linktr.ee/hotgamersonly to find all the podcast services that we're on, or just search Hot Gamers Only on podcast services. We are there now. We're the only podcast with that name, so you'll be able to find us. Or you can head on to YouTube, search for Hot Gamers Only on YouTube, or go to bit.ly/HGOYT. Give us a sub while we're there, please get us to 100 subscribers so we can stop begging and start begging for 200. That's how that works. Don't put your head down. It's true. It's true, dude. It's true. Just gonna have to accept this begging life we live now. But no, with that, Hunter, where can people find you?
YouTube.com/ReaperHunter23.
And Kyle, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Twitch, both at KDavisSRL.
And finally, you can find me at Chaotic Ether on both Twitter and Twitch. Thank you so much for listening / watching this week. We'll be back next week with either Persona 5 Strikers First Impressions or Pokemon Direct review, or both. We'll see what happens. Depending on what happens this week, we'll see. We'll try to get some reviews up here and there as well in between.
We'll have to do like a mini HGO in between.
Potentially, that is some.
If Pokemon happens,
we could potentially do that. Who knows? We could just record in 2 separate sessions and put the 2 together as a podcast for 1 week. We could do that as well. Yeah, exactly. Synergy, merge them together. I'm sure Pokemon fans love Persona, but no,
they're basically the same game.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
Yeah.
Especially in 5, where you're off there collecting them in battle and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
You've got a Persona Dex, you've got a Pokedex. It's the same video game.
Exactly.
Except I think Persona brings most of theirs with them.
True. And with that, we are done for this week. Thank you ever so much for listening and watching. We'll be back next week for more. But until then, have a safe week, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Yeah.
Toodaloo.